Hey guys, welcome into the channel. All right, so you bought into the hype. Maybe you're an Xbox player trying MLB for the first time, but regardless, you've made a decision. You are going to try MLB the Show 21's Diamond Dynasty. You're all ready. You're locked and loaded. Let me tell you, they implemented things into this mode that are industry changing, and there is just so much to do. And while that is amazing, it is also extremely overwhelming for new players. So today's video, I'm going to break down the settings, the cards that you should target early on, what modes that you should spend your time early on building your team up with, things to avoid, things to not worry about right now, everything that you'd want to know as a beginning player to make the start of your journey in MLB The Show 21's Diamond Dynasty as least frustrating as you possibly can make it. That is the goal of this video. So there will be settings and things that I wouldn't recommend once you start playing online and things like that. They are going to change, and I will have tip videos that will come out that will help you, again, more geared towards beginners. But the settings and things I'm going to show you today, they're going to be basically driven to try and make the game as least frustrating as it possibly can. All right, guys, let's get into what to do for beginners in MLB The Show 21's Diamond Dynasty. All right, so the first thing I want to go over is just the quick settings that I think that every beginning player should be using. And again, this is not meant for the people that have played MLB The Show in past years. This is really meant for the new players coming over. For my channel, for a lot of the people that are watching this, you're probably into NHL, and you know, you're watching this for the first time, you're getting into MLB this weekend, maybe at launch on the 20th, and you want to know, again, what should be the settings that you use. Here is what I use, and I'll explain why I would recommend them early on for you guys. So we're going to talk about, first of all, batting and base running as well. So hitting view, I would recommend strike zone. And the reason being, strike zone is the most up-in-your-face view that you can have. Now, obviously, it's not very aesthetically pleasing. But again, if you're playing online, you're trying to do moments and things like that, I would recommend getting used to strike zone, maybe strike zone 2. But this is what strike zone looks like. And the reason why I think that strike zone is so important is just because it removes clutter. Right? Like early on, you just want to not be distracted. When you switch things out and you go far back, like if you're talking like we'll even do strike zone 3, you'll see what happens here. And look, like see how much more you've got to worry about that's just in the screen. When you've got strike zone on, it really just eliminates all that, and it helps you, actually be able to see the ball. Now, obviously, that was an absolute moonshot, but I mean, this is on rookie. So anyways, we'll move on. That is what I would recommend in terms of batting. Yeah. All right, guys, the first thing I would recommend doing when you get this game is to set your, your settings correctly and what you want to use going before getting into the game and actually getting all your packs and everything like that. And the reason being is once you start doing moments and start grinding things like that, you want to start getting used to it. The early on part of this game and what I'm going to show in this video is all about getting you more prepared and more comfortable with the game. So if you're switching things in and out, now obviously that's fine because you're trying to find what's most comfortable. And honestly, unlike NHL, MLB has far more, reliability on just what you find comfortable. But I'm going to show you the things that I would recommend just early on. So hitting view is probably one of the most important, and what I would recommend is strike zone. So this is what strike zone looks like, okay? There's no clutter at all, okay? This is why I recommend it. You're very up in your face. You don't have much else to pay attention to, and you can tell if it's really outside pretty early on. Now, in contrast, here is what, the other ones look like. So strike zone 2 isn't bad, but here's what strike zone 3 looks like, and obviously, you have so much more. You see the batter, the pitcher's a lot smaller, and there's a lot more going on. You want to be focused on the pitcher and keep your eye on the ball, which is such a cliche, but nonetheless, that is why I would recommend that. So any of the strike zone ones are fine, but I would really recommend, guys, getting used to strike zone 1. That is what I would recommend just going into it. And again, it is all personal preference, but I'm just trying to get you guys to find things that make it very easy on yourself early on. The next thing I want to talk about is what you use to hit. Now, obviously, there's a few buttons that you can use to actually hit. Square will give you power swing, circle will give you contact swing, X is normal swing. Always just use X, okay? Especially when you're playing online. I found in the past that power swing, well, obviously it gives you a little bit of a power bump. Normal swing, when you tee up and actually hit the ball correctly, it's going to give you a home run just as often. So I would really recommend just using normal swing, and that takes care of that. So just always use X or A on Xbox. The next thing that I want to talk about is your PCI, so the plate coverage indicator. That is basically what you use to aim, okay? So you're going to have a bunch of different options here that you can mess around with and change, and this is all personal preference. I'm not gonna lie. You can do a lot of different things here. Something that I found last year, what I liked was to just turn everything off. And the reason being is that, again, I just want to remove clutter. Okay. Now, obviously, this is all personal preference, but again, it's just I'm trying to make it as easy for you guys as possible. Obviously, keeping the inner is kind of important. You could do that one as if you want, but again, it's not really. This is all personal preference. There's no like super meta way to do it. But that's just this is all going to take some messing around with to see what I like. Here's what the inner looks like. And this is usually just what I keep is the inner. And again, it's all just about removing clutter when you're hitting, okay? All right, guys, let's talk about base running here. So this is what seems to be extremely simple, can really mess up a game if you don't know how to do any base running. So the best way to describe it is you want to use your left thumbstick to aim at the player that you want to change. So in this case, you're selected, the guy that's on first. If you aim over towards this player, okay, as he's rounding the bag, you can then use whatever button you want in terms of what base to run to. So I hit triangle there and he went to second. Same thing here. Like if I want him to go to second, right, you use the left directional stick to aim at the player that you want to select. So, if you have a guy on third, you move the left thumbstick over towards their base, and then you hit X as that's home. So right here, he's at first, but I can hit second, third, and home all by just selecting the buttons. That's going to take some getting used to. It's extremely frustrating if you don't really know what you're doing. But that is just good. That's going to come fairly simple, and it's just the best way, in my opinion, early on to do it. So again, you just aim at the base runner on the left hand or the right hand side, and then just select whatever base you want him to run to, and you'll get the hang of it pretty quickly. All right, next up, let's talk about pitching. Okay, this is all personal preference, in my opinion. This year they added pinpoint pitching. I would not recommend that right out of the gate. It is really implemented a skill gap in MLB, which is awesome, but it also is pretty difficult to learn. And again, early on, I just want you guys to not get frustrated so you give up on the game. That is what this video is really about. I'm going to hammer that home. So meter is extremely simple. So basically, you just want to aim where the ball you want to put it, and then you hit X once or whatever button, hit it at the end if you want, and that'll give you the gas of that pitch. Okay, you're basically just trying to aim for whatever you want. The left. At the end of the meter is the hardest throw, a little bit less control. You give up a little bit less control, and then the X is basically trying to determine if where you're aiming it. So again, something like this. Like that's early, right? So if you want to make sure that you're hitting your spot, let's say you want to hit this curveball down and away, right? You can hit the yellow at the beginning, and that's going to give you a little bit more control, and it'll get it in that area to take a little bit off on velocity. But meter is what I would recommend. It's super simple, but as you get going, this is going to be able to be changed for you. I really enjoyed pure analog last year. It's a little bit more confusing. So X, basically on your right thumbstick now, you hold down, and then when you hit the yellow, you aim up at it, and that's, it has a little bit more feel and control. This is all something that you just want to go into practice mode and find what you want to be, what you want to use throughout. Again, I would avoid pinpoint early on. This video is not for people that have played this game really and that are well depth at it. You want to just make it as easy as possible. Please avoid pulse. In my opinion, that's a really rough one, but here's pinpoint. I'll show you guys real quick, and I haven't used it at all, right? So like it shows you the motion you want to make, right? And then like if you nail it, it is unbelievable, but it is very tough to master, and something early on you should just not worry about, because again, you're just trying to get through these moments and challenges and games early on, and then once you've got a firm grasp on the game, then you can move on to that. All right, the last thing I want to talk about is fielding. And this is going to be controversial to some, but honestly, early on when you're just grinding offline stuff and things like that, change it to buttons. And the reason is that buttons will make it completely, AI influenced. Okay, so when you field a ball and you want to throw it to first base, you just press the button and it will throw it to you. Button accuracy will have a meter that comes along, and you've got to nail it in that meter, and that basically eliminates the potential for error, whereas buttons will sometimes give you errors. But if you have a decent fielder, you're not really going to notice it very often. And again, this is all just about trying to make this as least frustrating as possible. Button accuracy while you're trying to learn it, and a run or not getting it out early on when you're first playing this game is extremely frustrating. So again, what this video is about, changes to buttons, and in my opinion, I think that it's just very easy for people, and something that once you get the hang of it, then switch to button accuracy. But yeah, stick to buttons early on, and unless you want to, because I think button accuracy is what you need to change it to, but I would stick to buttons early on. All right, now let's actually get into Diamond Dynasty and what you should be doing early on. All right, so if this is going to pertain to free-to-play players or guys that want to spend money on the game, I don't care. Okay, it's all really going to be the same. It doesn't matter, because the thing about MLB, especially if you're coming over from NHL, is that having good players helps, but it does not, it does not infinitely make you better, because if you can't lay off, a changeup in the dirt, or if you can't hit the high heat, it will not matter if you have a 99 overall player. So let's first discuss, what we've got in the menus here and where you should start. So here is your squad. And again, you go in here, and here is my team that I've been working on. And I'm going to explain these little numbers and whatnot, because they are extremely important in just a little bit. So here is where you set your team. And this is all pretty easy stuff. You want to change your third baseman, you hit X on it, and this will show you all your third basemen that are actually listed as third baseman. If you hit R1, it'll show you guys that have third baseman as their secondary position that can play there. And then obviously out of position guys, but I would not put anyone that's out of position, because their fielding is absolutely brutal. So that shows you that. If you hit R2 or R the right trigger, it'll show you your pitchers, okay? And again, this is all pretty self-explanatory, and this is where you set your lineup, okay? All right, now let's talk about packs and whatnot. So if you hit on packs, you've got a couple of options here, and again, this is going to be pertaining to the pay-to-play players. Obviously 75,000 coins. If you spend the 100, I'm Canadian, right? So if you spend 130, you can get 100 packs basically and rip through all of those. And then there's all these other options as well. Headliners gives you a special chance, or a higher chance, to get the featured item, which this week is the 90 overall Josh Donaldson. I actually got 2 diamonds out of these packs, but they are obviously much more expensive. But it depends how many coins or how much money you're trying to spend on the game. If you're not trying to spend any, don't worry about it. Take note, if you have this in here, you can get your 85 overall Roberto Clemente for free. You just click X on it, or A, and you'll be allowed to open up your pack. Also, if you're coming over from the NHL side, you do not buy points. You literally just buy the currency used in game. That's right. If you buy 150,000 stubs, you can literally just buy players with it. I think that's one gigantic difference between NHL and this. And again, the reason why I'm explaining to NHL is because most of my following is from the NHL community, but I just want to mention that. So if you want to buy a specific player, you can just go out and spend that if you want. So just something to take note there. All right, now let's talk about what you should be doing early on. So you've set your team, you've got your lineup, you're like, now what? As I'm not going to lie, the menus are kind of hidden. They don't really, they're not very in your face about it. So I want you to I recommend you start with single player modes. Again, if you're new to the game, avoid online early on. It is frustrating. You are going to get crushed. There is going to be a lot of players that will, dominate early on. And again, getting killed in this game is not fun. Okay, it is not. You need to learn some patience. You need to learn how to actually hit, field, pitch mix, all of that. And this is why building your team early on is by far more important, because again, not only are you building up your team, you're also building up the fundamental skills to actually play this game at a competent level. So here's what I want you to start. If you click on moments, okay, you can do the welcome moment, and there's a few things here. You'll get a lot of stuff. You'll get some stubs and some XP, which I'll explain why that's important later. But the first thing I want you to do is go to Tops Now 2021. And the reason is because once you do all of these, you're going to get to choose between 2 players, and you can get, an absolute beast early on in your Mon Mercedes, the catcher, 84 overall, which is what I chose. And again, that just gives you a good gold player right out of the gate. Doing these ones, the 5th to the 11th, it'll take you a little bit longer, because in this one specifically, you've got to tally 3 extra base hits. But you can get Ryan McMahon at 86 overall, and he's been a beast early on for me. So again, these are the important ones right away, is just first to get these 2. Now, next up, I want to talk about daily moments. These are just basically what you can get by just logging into the game and doing a moment. So in this, you'll get a moment every single day to do, and here is the path. And why this is important is because you will eventually be able to get the bronze 72 overall Jason Giambi, which you can then upgrade, and I'm going to show you how in a little bit. But if you do 5 of them throughout the month of April, you can get the 89 Roberto Alomar, just a good second baseman, a diamond second baseman, for just doing a moment every single day for 5 days. Like, it's crazy. As you continue, you get more rewards, but absolutely take advantage of this. So the easiest way to do it, again, is to just go to programs, right? And then you click on programs, go to daily moments, and then in here, you go down to moments, and it'll give you the one that is available today. You can't go, from my understanding, you can't go back and do the past ones. I did the one yesterday. So again, you just go in here and you strike out 7 batters with Nolan Ryan. And once you're done that, you will get, I'll be done 2 of them. And as you go on, you'll be able to get the Jason Giambi and Roberto Alomar. Why Jason Giambi is important is if you go into player programs right here, you'll see the Jason Giambi. You can turn that 72 into the 85. And again, just getting these free diamonds early on is what's going to make free-to-play players just life an absolute, absolute breeze, okay? So again, you'll start here, stage 1, you go to moments, and again, you have to have the Jason Giambi card. You do these moments, and you'll be able to upgrade them, and you move right along. You'll go into stage 2, and again, you'll have missions to do, moments to do, and then exchanges, and you'll be able to get that diamond 85 overall Jason Giambi. Mickey Mantle's card, you can do all of these and eventually get the 80 Mickey Mantle. I really don't think that this is worth the grind. I would just avoid this one. I mean, I guess you can get the free stuff here, but it isn't really worth the grind at all. So I would just avoid this one, to be honest with you. A lot of other things to do in this, but again, I'm just trying to explain what to do and where to go first for players that are brand new to the game. So we got to talk about the first inning program. This is like the universal rewards for just playing the game, and you'll get substantial rewards throughout. So if you go all the way, and again, you can see what is available by putting triangle or if you hit triangle at the top on each one, it'll show you the packs that you get from these, or what's included. Okay, but as you go down, once you get to 350,000, you'll get a first inning boss, and you'll be able to choose between one of these three. It's going to take you some time to grind these, but this is the best part about just playing the game is you'll get a ton of rewards just for playing. So again, you have daily missions that you can do, missions that will get you substantial ones, moments, again, all the way through. You can do all of these to help just grind it much faster. You have first inning diamond conquest, which I'll show you what that is in a second. And then a big collection that, again, you don't really have to worry about. But again, just a really great way to get free rewards. Team Affinities. All right, Team Affinities are, they offer phenomenal cards throughout, and they're a little bit different than last year. But again, we're just going to look at the AL East, okay? So as you go through, you see the 3 TA, 5 TA. Those are, the Team Affinity points, okay? And you earn them various ways. But as you go through, okay, you'll get a Team Affinity pack. And in that pack is going to have, once you get to the 42, okay, you're going to get to choose between one of these, all right, whatever division you chose. So this is the AL East. You get to choose between these affinity cards, and obviously these are phenomenal early on in the game. I mean, the 88 Giancarlo Stanton, anyone that has good power is just absolutely phenomenal early on, as well as Bo Bichette. He's been really good for me as well. So you can grind these out by various different ways. You go down here. There's missions that you can do by playing, with certain specific players. But moments is where I would do first. They're very easy because, again, you just click on it and then you get into that moment. You can just redo it over and over again. Conquest is there. I'm going to show you what that is, March to October. Again, I really wouldn't focus on these just right away because, again, I think that it's more important to teach you guys the game because there's fast ways to grind the affinities, and it requires you to have a pretty good understanding of how to play the game. So now we're going to talk about what to do. All right, Conquest. This is where it's at. This is long. This requires a pretty big grind, but it is where I would 100% recommend you to spend your time early in this game if you have not played it before, or if you want to build up your team, okay? And again, this is specifically tailored to new players, all right? And I'll explain what to do. And the reason why this Nation of Baseball challenge is so good is because it will give you the end reward, essentially, for doing everything, is getting the 89 rookie Albert Pujols, which is obviously a very, very good card early on, and just something that it gives you a good focus and payout for the amount of time that you got to put in. All right. Now, on top of that, you get a ton of packs from just controlling the map. And now I'm almost done this one. I'll show you guys what to do and what Conquest looks like, because I think Conquest is a very, very good spot for you guys to start. And it obviously looks extremely confusing, and I want to explain it in the most simple terms as I possibly can, because I think that taking advantage of Conquest early on is the best way to benefit early on in this game, once you've done the moments and things I talked about a little bit early on. All right, so basically the objective in this is to control the entire map, beat every single stronghold, and you'll get the Albert Pujols, okay? But when you're going throughout and you take over different territories, you'll get random packs, bundles, it's just a phenomenal way to do it, and it helps you build up your team for free. So I'm just going to show you what to do in Conquest and how to, the best way to go about, doing it. So the first inning diamond one, basically this is the program. When we talked about that earlier, it's going to give you a big boost to the first inning program to help you get towards those first inning bosses. Here is how it works. All right, there's 3 phases. You're going to start a map. All right, you can start anyone, but I would recommend doing the Albert Pujols one, to be honest with you. just because it takes a long time and it's gonna, it's very simple. All right, so here is the attack phase. Basically, you just, it'll give you hit X on your first one and it'll tell you where to expand. In Conquest, guys, the best way to do this entire mode is to expand as fast and as far as possible. That is how you do Conquest, extremely easy. And the reason is because you get reinforcements every single turn. And it is based on how many territories you control. So as you go around on your first turn, you want to expand as much as possible. All right, and as you see, so there's my first turn. Now it's going to go into the Steel Fans phase. I would not do this at all because I think it's a major time sink, unless by hitting triangle, you'll see your goals on the right-hand side. Unless there's a goal, and there is in the Albert Pujols one, that says steal enemies or steal fans, I would not do any stealing, okay? Just because it takes a long time. You got to play the game, but if you want to, all right, you can choose a team to steal from, and on the right-hand side, it'll tell you how many fans that you will steal from that team based on the difficulty that you chose. And the thing about, this early on is I would just stick to veteran or rookie because it makes it much easier and it's a very long grind. And again, you're just learning the game. So I would avoid this, hit start, and you'll go to the next one, to the reinforced phase. So again, you'll get more reinforcements based on how many territories you have. So put them all into one. That is what I recommend. Every turn, don't split them up. Don't put two in one. The next phase is move fans. You don't really have to worry about that because you're going to put all of your guys into one single territory. So you hit start again, go to attack phase. And again, you're just going along here in the early stages of every conquest, just moving and expanding as far as you possibly can. Now the Steel Fans phase, you can skip that. Back to reinforcement. Now I get 6 a turn, and you'll start to see what happens, all right? So you just keep going. Now what happens and your main goal of this, all right? So now you've run up against the Seattle Mariners, okay? You click this, and it's like Risk. You can play the game and guarantee yourself a win, basically, or you can simulate it, and obviously it's not guaranteed you'll win and win outright, but okay, I didn't lose anything there. I would 100% recommend this. Do not play these little tile ones. Do not play them at all. It's going to take you that much longer. So as you go, let's do another one. We'll simulate this, and we'll get closer to the stronghold. The tile with the icon is the stronghold, okay? Every team's got one on each map. All right, so I'm getting attacked here, and they actually lost. So I can now go again. Now, when you go to attack a stronghold, it is going to depend on how many fans that you have in the tile that you're attacking. So I only have 4, and they have 7 defending. If you go and look, the play the game, it says Hall of Fame and Legend. The other ones are blocked out because I don't have a lot of fans. The more fans you have, the lower the difficulty you can play the game. You have to play this when taking over a stronghold. So what I recommend is to go skip Steel Fans phase. All right? We'll go and skip to reinforced phase and put all of your guys into one. All right, every single turn. Now back to attack, and now you'll see I can choose all-star. In my opinion, I wouldn't do that again, so I would skip again. The Steel Fans phase, they're going to attack me, which is fine, and they actually are losing, which is even better. And we'll just complete the process again, and we'll do this every single time until you can get down to veteran is fine, but again, if you want to make it even easier on yourself, right, you can just literally just go and do it on rookie. So then you go and play it, and once you win a 3-inning game, it's not a 9-inning game. You play a 3-inning game, and then you've got that stronghold, and then you just keep expanding, and that's how you do it. Conquest it looks very confusing. It's very, very simple, but the objective is to basically take over the entire map, and you have goals on the right-hand side here by hitting triangle. So conquer 30 territories in the first inning map, acquire 50 million fans, capture 1 stronghold, capture 3, capture all of them. We'll get you a ball and as a habit pack, and then conquer all territories and complete the first inning map. Again, we'll basically complete this thing, okay? And that is how you do it. Conquest is very simple. It looks confusing, but it isn't. It's a great way to earn XP as well as grinding towards different cards. So that's why I recommend this Albert Pujols one. So the next thing we need to talk about, guys, is community parallels, something that they put into this game that is absolutely game-changing for every ultimate team in every single sports game is parallels. So if you go to manage squad here, and while you're doing conquest, it counts towards your parallels. Everything counts, okay? So as you perform well with players with each card, you will get parallel XP for that card. Now obviously batters, you only get a few at bats each game. It's a 3-inning game, and they'll go up. So we take for example Marcell Ozuna. I've been really good with recently. I've gotten him up to level 2. And I was actually the 20th player in the world to get to level 2 Marcell Ozuna. And with that, it means that all of my attributes go up by +2, which is just a great addition to this game. But for pitchers, because when you're doing Conquest, you don't lose energy from game to game. Do it with one pitcher, guys. So if we go over here, I packed the 91 Felix Hernandez, and I'm literally just used Felix Hernandez for the entire Pujols map, and I've got him to the level 3 parallel. In fact, I was the 3rd player in the world to do it, and he is now up +3 on all of his attributes. I would 100% focus on one pitcher because having an extremely dominant pitcher early on is a very, very big advantage. And that's just, it's a very unique way to take advantage of Conquest early because, again, your guys do not get tired, and it's very, very simple to just grind with one pitcher. All right, guys, so that was a ton of info, and I know I didn't talk about playing online or anything like that, and the reason is because this is for beginners, all right? I would not recommend going in and playing online early on until you've at least built a team and you have full understanding of how to field, how to hit, and you're pitching, you have your preferred pitching method down, all of that. That is why in this video I didn't show you what to do online. We're going to have videos that's going to go and break down the best ways to grind online as well. But I would 100% early on just focus on playing offline. Again, the Albert Pujols is a great grind. It is very long. Like, it's taken me about 8 to 10 hours. And again, you can do it at your own pace. But I also got a ton of rewards throughout that. Like, I've gotten a ton of different packs that I haven't opened yet. And again, that just goes into help building your team. And I also got those parallels to upgrade the guys that I'm going to go in and play online with. So let me know what you think in the comments section down below. There will be daily MLB videos on top of my NHL content. And again, if you are new to the channel, please subscribe if you did enjoy it and give the video a like. I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one.